Hello, welcome back to the Dave's Deadlines again. I'm by Meadowhall South tram stop near Sheffield today, where we'll be exploring another part of the Great Central Railway.
Oh, what a pity. If I'd known you were filming so close to home today, I would have come out and joined you. Still, I suppose this hedge isn't going to cut itself now, is it?
The double track line you can see disappearing off on my right is on a short portion of the former track bed of the original South Yorkshire Railway between Sheffield Victoria and Barnsley Exchange, also known as the Blackburn Valley route.
While we're here, we're also at the site of the original Tinsley station, which sits more or less where this tram stop is now, and that's on the junction itself, which we're going to look at in a minute.
That's the minute it took to get over that bridge, but while we're down here by the Tinsley Canal, I have this lovely treat to show you right here. The graffiti-strewn ruin right behind me is the sole remaining building from Tinsley Station itself, right by the junction where the former GCR line to Rotherham Central also diverged to the right.
Popping round the other side for a quick peek, why don't we? The building was part of the original parcels office and holding bay for goods being exchanged between train and barge back in the day when canals were a big thing in the industry.
Anyway, we've got off on the wrong track a bit here, haven't we? Literally. So to be finding the Barnsley line, we need to be heading back that way.
Back over the tram crossing one last time.
As we venture slightly further north, I didn't already tell you that Tinsley Junction is actually part of a triangle.
What we're standing and looking at now is the site of the former Tinsley West Junction, which took trains from Barnsley around to Rotherham going left or Sheffield going right. The original curve is behind that steel fencing. There was a signal box straight opposite us at this point, which still lasted intact until the junction's decommissioning in 1988. As we're on our way, we'll just have a peek at the site of the former Blackburn Meadows power station, where a railway actually peeled off from the Tinsley Junction and went straight into once. There was still a curved bit of railway track across the road there, but that's probably tarmacked over around the early noughties, if not before. Can anyone spot a bridge?
We arrive now at where lines past and present unite. Sort of. Next to me here, we have a bridge that took the former GCR route onto the current Midland Main Line from Sheffield to Rotherham and Leeds. Although closed in the mid-1960s as the through railway corridor to Barnsley, the line continued from here on as a single track branch to the Smithywood colliery near Chapeltown. Despite having laid trackless for 37 years now at the time of speaking, you can still see through to the next bridge from here, below junction 34A. But obviously, nature has taken over since then. Well, that's another dead end we've had to back out of, that is now. But if we hop over the junction, we've got another little bit of track bed hiding behind there as well. Just while we're passing, this is a former ramp to the original Meadowhall station on the Midland Railway route, which was closed in the 1950s. The station, of course, that is not the railway. There's no trace of it left now, apart from the ramp, of course. Like I already said, there's more distinctively convincing evidence of the track bed just through these weeds. Here is where trains towards Barnsley Exchange came through, passing just to the right of this pillar and through the undergrowth here. As you can see, the line continues straight from this clearing here to where the office block is now straddling the line, crossing the river and arriving neatly at Meadowhall and Wincobank station. Having finally reached the walkable part of the railway route, I'm now standing on what was a former connection with the Midland Railway at Meadowhall. And it also had track on it up to the late 90s, which I will explain why in a moment. For the meantime, if you need any further reliable evidence that our railway used to run this way, you might see a bridge in front. As we come round here, I have something else we need to stop by and admire in all its glory. Former glory, more like. Just like Great Central Railway had a triangle connecting all three towns, those crafty Midland types did as well once. This sad last square of brickwork here is all that remains of the viaduct that once swooped round a curve, carrying trains from Barnsley to connect with the Midland route towards Rotherham. The viaduct was removed in 1987, sadly with the Travelodge rudely in its way, extremely unlikely ever to return. Quite a pity actually, as the direct connection between Barnsley and Rotherham can still have its practicalities nowadays. Pulling away now, and we pick up with the former Great Central route for good. As we leave Meadowhall and its Travelodge behind, we still have one last interesting bit of detail to look at here. Despite the landscaping, we've still kept hold of the former retaining wall here, as well as its reinforcement tile work, nicely enough. Just coming up to junction with the Great Central proper at this point. That section where we were standing on the ballast a short while ago slewed in to join us at the right here, where you can see it is just a modern business park these days that was built in 2004. The picnic bench through there more or less sits bang on the spot where the line joined on. There was actually a buffer stop at that point for many years after. But as we head over this bridge now, we have a bigger spectacle in front. One that I've been mentioning every other minute since the start of the video, I think. The gloriously gabled outline of Meadowhall and Wincobank station. Originally opened in 1866 as simply Meadowhall, it was named Meadowhall and Wincobank in 1899 and finally closed in 1953, along with most subsequent stations along this route. Given that we can't see a lot of it from the track side, a look at it from the street does it slightly more justice. A good chimney still looks dominating, seen from all the right angles though. Time to depart once again. Got to say at this stage, it's so enchanting to be walking this former line that I used to travel alongside myself on a still existent one, which is just about 70 metres to our left at the moment. I enjoyed looking out my window down at this single track running through the trees about a story below, although that's not staying like that forever as it climbs in a bit. And then one day in around 1989 I was on my way out to Barnsley once more, looked down to my right and the track was no longer to be seen, just bare ballast. By that last time I'd seen the track, obviously it was just that single line route up to Smithywood colliery, which we'll be coming to on the follow-up video. For now, we descend up on another bridge, and up to our right above it, a magnificent chimney still dominates the sky, surviving from Sheffield's vibrant days of industry. Maybe still in some possible secret use to this very day. Either way, glad it's still got a state of execution. So you can stick that in your chimney and smoke it. I remember first visiting this track bed in 1996 when I was only 18. It was simply a narrow mud path strewn with ballast that had almost become buried already by that time. Only 8 years after the track was lifted, so that's a pretty fast landscape caused by nature. Strange, I never recall any mention of branch lines around here. On our left here, where I'm guessing this crossing used to be, is a now closed footpath leading up to probably one of the longest footbridges I've ever seen. To our right here, tower crane storage yard. I've tilted it up so you don't have to crane your necks too much. So much more spectacular when you pass them at night, however. They look like the world's tallest Christmas trees. Superb view down on the nearby disused railway as well. I think I ought to apply for a job there myself at some stage. And it was at this stage, as we approached Grange Lane, that I had something of a nasty accident here cycling in my teenage years.
I collided with a muddy barrow crossing ramp that was about 2 foot above trackbed level right across at a rather off-kilter angle that sent me flying several feet in the air, almost doing a complete somersault before coming to earth, body before bike, and then bike almost on top of me as well. Luckily no bones broken. Served me right, however, for cycling with such a bad haircut as I had then. And these are the sort of maniacs who make YouTube films these days in their mid-40s.
We've got Grange Lane straight behind me here, which, like Meadowhall, I still got a bit of it left to look at, but a little bit extra as well.
As with Thurleston and Shore Hall crossings on the Woodhead line on our previous videos, we've still got a slight bit of rail surviving in the tarmac straight below our feet here.
Just along here, however, is where we'll have the real fun.
Because nestling beneath the nettles and the brambles, shortly to our left here, is the sole remaining platform of Grange Lane Station.
Grange Lane lasted just under a century, opening in 1855 and closing to passengers in 1953. Both platforms remained intact in the 1990s, and the Barnsley bound side, obviously, even behind that. Just to my left here, one of the buildings survived until 2011 before it finally was pulled to the ground. Scarcely anything survives from the Sheffield bound side now, although there might be a few remains left squatting underneath this mound. Pulling away from the Grange Lane platforms, or platform, and it's practically half a mile already between this and the next station. Just over on our right at this point is that junction with the Grange Colliery branch. Sadly, no evidence of either the points or the sidings left nowadays, but you can still watch a whole feature on that on another video I did, as I mentioned. All the way back in autumn 2023 now. Now here's the optical trick for today, guys and gals. Although I might have slightly given it away already somewhat. This cutting we're just coming through now, the sides of it look like they're getting lower, but they're not. They're actually level. It's us and the railway that are going up. We come right up alongside the Midland line here. The cycle path swoops one way upward while we dive one way leftward slightly.
and also underneath the first bridge we've seen since Meadowhall. And descending beneath this isolated industrial back road at the rear of Ecclesfield, our brief but eventful uphill trek climatizes, excuse me, right alongside the site of Ecclesfield East station. And as we emerge, a train on the neighbouring Midland line does as well. I felt like we're having a race there. Ecclesfield East opened in 1854 and, like the other stations, closed in 1953. But at least it managed a year better than Grange Lane did. Just behind this fence on the left, you can see the remaining brick face of one of the buildings from the Barnsley bound side. A little spot of shed hereabouts as well. Still see some support concrete down there. Don't know if it was a wagon or an engine that it supported. And some of the outer wall. Head along this way and you'll find we have our feet on concrete as well. Also a bonus bit of rail still laying in the floor. Unlike at Grange Lane, however, the one remaining platform has somewhat sunk beneath the seas of bramble. This part looks to be impressively suspended in mid-air almost, and this will be probably what's left of the ramp. To imagine this was still a fully intact platform face right the way down when I first visited back in 1997. Anyway, standing back to back with all these lovely sleepers, it's about time I was getting some sleep myself. Thanks for watching as always then. Just leaves me to say, if you like what you saw today, subscribe, and next time we'll be continuing across this bridge and on to Chapeltown Central. Bye! Well, now that he's finished that nonsense again for another week, perhaps we'll pay more attention to the garden instead of sauntering off to another disused railway every week. Ow!